Good evening and welcome to the program. First tonight, when businesses go bust, then make a miraculous return. It's a practice often referred to as Phoenix activity and one that allows them to carry on while avoiding paying staff and creditors. And as Annalise Nielsen reports, the legal loophole has those owed money seeing red.
First job, didn't really get paid.
It's not just that he's gone insolvent or broke, he's actually carrying on trading. It hasn't made any difference to him.
Each year, thousands of Australian businesses go bust, and some rise miraculously from the ashes, with new directors and no creditors.
I think it's more common than people actually realise.
We know that financial crime costs the Australian taxpayer around about $15 billion every year.
These reincarnations are called Phoenix companies.
I firmly believe that it was a calculated liquidation. He knew when it was going to happen.
The Artel markets itself as a boutique restaurant in picturesque McLaren Vale, where you can sample the finest local produce. The problem is the local businesses backing it weren't getting paid.
We're all trying to run small businesses, we all try and help out local businesses, so I was happy to cut in the slack.
Tim Birchall installed the air conditioning, a job recommended by his daughter, 19-year-old Georgia, who was working there as a waitress.
He was employing Georgia in her first ever hospitality job, so we did a real good price for him, and then just never saw the money.
It was a $2,500 job, but Tim only ever saw a few $100s.
He wrote us out a cheque when we finally chased him down and managed to track him down. That one bounced. He wrote me out another one immediately, which cleared, and that was the last payment we saw.
It was around the same time staff payments began to falter.
Midway through June, I think my last pay was, and I was there for, I think I quit in September.
The same story for 15-year-old Tyson Sparrow too.
How much did he owe you?
Around about $600, yeah.
On July 15th, the Artel filed for bankruptcy, owing over $250,000. Everything from staff wages and benefits to wine, fresh food, even down to $9 owed to Coles Express. But it was what happened next that really shocked the employees. It came in this email.
Please note, I have referred you all for employment to the new company, as they will commence trade as of Thursday, the 16th of July.
That is the very next day.
Everyone thought maybe someone else has bought the business because he's got obviously no money to keep going with it. And then it wasn't until I went into my next shift that he told me it was his wife.
That's right. It was out with Brad's company and in with his wife's, Kate Redman.
In my eyes, I couldn't see the difference between him or his wife. Like, either hands it's in, it's still the same family that's owning it.
And all of a sudden, that company is in bankruptcy, and then we've got this new company that pops up the very next day with his wife, again, as the sole director of a company.
Tyson's dad, Brett Sparrow, was furious and attempted to take Brad to court, but to no avail. Essentially,
The judge just sort of said to us, look, don't worry about it, guys, you're wasting your time, you'll never get anything out of it. I mean, it's a bankruptcy situation now.
One of the sorriest debtors in this saga was Ben Noble, former manager of the Artel under Brad.
We became friends, obviously. I was working in the bar, he was working in the kitchen. He came in and seemed like, he really knew what he was doing. He told us that he really knew what he was doing.
But when business was going badly earlier this year, Brad approached Ben for a loan to keep things going.
Because of the urgency of it, he asked me to take out a loan with the Citibank because they have a 48-hour approval. And I said, okay, no worries. So we took out an $18,000 loan. That's a credit card loan, so it's quite a high interest of 19.49% at the time.
He did not tell me. If he'd have told me, I would have definitely told him not to do it.
Well, he should have listened to his mum. Lynn Noble was the bookkeeper at the Artel and knew something wasn't right with the books.
I couldn't understand why the books weren't balancing. And I'd ask him and he'd sort of shrug his shoulders a little bit.
She left just before tax time, unable to cope with the stress of fending off creditors.
So in the end, every time he wrote a cheque, I'd just go boing as it bounces,
We asked Brad to comment on the allegations of his former employees, but he refused. ASIC's investigating whether the landlord had a role to play, using his power to take over the assets to settle the rent owed to him before the transfer to Brad's wife.
It was a very bizarre way to do it, but I think they knew what they were doing and they did it.
Most of those creditors are often small businesses, which is why the government is cracking down on Phoenix activity.
Federal Small Business Minister Kelly O'Dwyer says the government's already stepped up action against business owners engaging in Phoenix activity.
The government this year announced a multi-agency task force, the Serious Financial Crimes Task Force, which is committed to looking at Phoenix activity and cracking down on it and stopping those people who are engaged in it.
And she has a stern warning for anyone who thinks they can outsmart the system.
If you are engaged in Phoenix activity, it's simply a matter of time before we come after you.
It's not fair if he can continue trading and still not be paying people, paying small businesses, paying suppliers. It's not very fair.
Annalise Nielsen there, but coming up on the program,